Hello students, so I am here with my next video of chapter 2. In the previous video I was discussing decomposition reaction. What are decomposition reaction, that I already explained you with many examples, and three types of decomposition depending upon the sources of decomposition used. They may be thermal, electrochemical or photochemical decompositions. Here I am going to explain you some experiments based on decomposition reactions. Actually, how this type of questions or equations are useful. Most of the questions, according to your pattern of the questions, most of the questions can be asked from such experiment based questions. Okay, and I told you already that questions may be asked for observation. In that case, if you are not sure about the equation, then please don't write the equation, because observation doesn't need the equation. But yes, the change of color, the evolution of a gas, formation of the precipitate, that must be given clearly. Okay, if you know the equation correctly and you can balance it, then only write the equation. Otherwise you can give the explanation of that reaction in terms of the observation which you can see. Now I am starting with the first decomposition reaction. As you can see with the formula, it is lead nitrate. Actually, lead nitrate is they appear as white crystals. You know what are crystals? Crystals means if something which is having a definite geometrical pattern, like you see, if you put sugar or salt in between your fingers, then you will notice that they are not like powder, they have some means crystalline structure. So that's why they are said to be, most of the salts, they are crystalline. So lead nitrate is also a crystalline salt. It appears as white crystal. But on heating, what happened? It get decomposed to give you lead oxide, which is yellow in color. Also evolves, I told you, whenever any nitrate is heated, two products are definitely formed. They are nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. But how to give the answer? If the question is asked, what will you observe if lead nitrate crystals are heated? So you have to write, if lead nitrate crystals are heated, reddish brown nitrogen dioxide gas evolves, a colorless gas oxygen evolves which reglows the burning splinter, and yellow residue of lead monoxide is left behind. Okay, because whatever the gases are evolved, they are always evolved. If, for example, if you are heating this in the test tube, they are not remaining inside the test tube. They will readily, these gas, as soon as they are formed, they will evolve out of the test tube. But only the solid residues will left behind. That will be the yellow lead oxide. Okay. Next, zinc carbonate. Zinc carbonate is also white salt. You know, whenever carbonates are heated, the two main products are metal oxide and carbon dioxide. But what is the speciality of this zinc oxide? Whenever it is hot, because the process requires heating, so as soon as it is formed, it is very hot. At that time it appears yellow in color, but with cooling it becomes white. So lead oxide and zinc oxide, just to remember the difference between them. Lead oxide is a yellow residue, of course, but zinc oxide will appear yellow only when it is hot, but it will turn white when it becomes cold. And yes, a colorless gas evolves, which is carbon dioxide. And how you can identify as carbon dioxide? Because it turns lime water milky. So you have to give the test of that particular gas also. आपने पहचाना कैसे है कि गैस जो है वो CO2 है, तो उसका हमने टेस्ट भी लिखा. Yes, a colorless, odorless gas evolves and it turns lime water milky because it is carbon dioxide. Next, decomposition of ammonium dichromate. Ammonium dichromate is also a salt which is orange in color. So whenever ammonium dichromate salt is heated, it breaks into chromium oxide, water vapor and nitrogen. Now this chromium oxide is green in color. So what will be the observation? When orange ammonium dichromate is heated, colorless water vapors evolve, another colorless nitrogen gas evolves, which extinguish the burning splinter, and yes, green residue of chromium oxide is left behind. Next is heating of blue hydrated crystals of copper sulfate. Actually, copper sulfate is also known as blue vitriol, and hydrated word I am using here because you can see that 5 water molecules are associated with copper sulfate. If I say copper sulfate, it means it is CuSO4. But if I say hydrated copper sulfate, it means it is a crystalline salt. So definitely it will contain some water molecule or water of crystallization. ये 5 water molecules क्या है? If water molecules are associated with a particular salt, these fixed number of water molecules are called water of crystallization. And how they come? Actually when these salts are getting crystallized, जब ये अपने saturated solution से ठंडे होने के बाद crystals form कर रहे होते हैं, at the same time they also get associated with some fixed water molecules, and these fixed water molecules are known as water of crystallization. So any salt if contains water molecules, it is said to be hydrated salt. So it is a blue hydrated copper sulfate crystals. Of course they are crystalline form. So when they are heated, generally ऐसा होता है जो भी hydrated salts को heat किया जाता है, because as this water of crystallization they are loosely held. That's why we show this dot here. Dot means they are not having any perfect bonding between, but they are loosely held with the main salt. So they will readily vaporize out. जितने भी water molecules हैं वो vaporize होके अलग हो जाएंगे, and yes the residue copper sulfate will left behind. Now as it is not having water of crystallization, so it will be said as anhydrous. अगर वाटर ऑफ क्रिस्टलाइजेशन है तो उसको कहते हैं हाइड्रेटेड. वाटर ऑफ क्रिस्टलाइजेशन नहीं है देन इट इज कॉल्ड एज एनहाइड्रस. Color will change from blue to white because no water is left here. The blue color was due to the hydrated nature, and yes they will not remain crystalline, they will change amorphous. Amorphous का मतलब powdery. Actually ये जो हमने बताया ना, what do you mean by crystalline structure? All the molecules are occupying a definite geometrical pattern, but as 5 water molecules they have escaped from the crystalline structure of copper sulfate. Now that perfect crystals have been they are not in that perfect crystalline form, because as water has removed, water molecules are removed, so the crystalline structure is being disturbed, and now they appear as amorphous or the powdery substance. So blue copper sulfate crystals will change to white anhydrous amorphous with removal of 5 water molecules on heating. Okay, and this is a reversible process. You can remove water molecules on heating, and on cooling, when it comes in contact of water, it again reunites 5 water molecule to become blue in color. So whenever you put some drop of water over anhydrous copper sulfate, it readily turns to blue in color. So it is a reversible process. One more reversible process, though it is not decomposition, it is just preparation of hydrogen by passing steam over red hot iron. So this is also a reversible process. The product will be triferric tetraoxide with hydrogen. But if you keep these products together, if hydrogen which is formed here is not separated from this product, then again they will reunite to give you the reactants back. So in order to continue the process in a single direction, अगर हम नहीं चाहते कि ये reversible process हो, so as soon as the products are formed, we have to separate one of the product from the remaining solution in order to keep that process in one direction. अगर दोनों प्रोडक्ट को साथ में मिलने दिया, then they will reunite to give you the reactants back. So at least one product we have to separate to avoid the reversible process. Then coming to thermal dissociation. What do you mean by what is the difference between thermal decomposition and dissociation? Not a big difference. Actually thermal decomposition is of course breaking of a big compound into 2 or more simpler substances on heating, but that process is mostly irreversible. But thermal dissociation word is used when a substance breaks. Actually here the breaking will be in the form of ions, and this process will be a reversible process because thermal dissociation will take place on heating, the big compound will break into ions and then ion will reunite to give you the product, and on cooling these products can reunite to give you the reactant back. Okay, so that is the difference between thermal decomposition and dissociation. Dissociation is always a reversible process in which on heating the substance break and on cooling it reunites to give you the reactant back. So here two examples are there. Ammonium chloride, when you heat ammonium chloride, on heating it will give you ammonia and HCl. These are two gaseous products which are formed on heating this ammonium chloride, which is a solid substance. It is a sublimatory process. Sublimation, you know, it is a process when a solid directly changes to gas, and gas on cooling will again give you the solid back. Okay, so this is a sublimation when solid ammonium chloride gives you two gases, and two gases on cooling will give you the solid back. Another reversible process is of breaking dinitrogen tetroxide. On heating it will break to give you two molecules of nitrogen dioxide, that is reddish brown gas will appear here. But on cooling again these reddish brown nitrogen dioxide molecules will reunite to give you dinitrogen tetroxide back. So here we have finished the decomposition process. Now in my next video we will discuss displacement and the next exercise.